Welcome back to Trail Tales. If you're planning a trip to the Dolomites and you're looking for hiking inspiration, then this video is for you. We're going to take you along with us on an unforgettable hike from the famous Seceda ridgeline and the Geisler group of mountains. If this isn't already on your bucket list, it really ought to be. Nestled in the far north of Italy, South Tyrol is an autonomous region where the culture is distinctly Germanic and Alpine, and is home to one of the most beautiful portions of the Alps. Our planned hike was a 9.5 kilometer loop, starting at the base of the Seceda peak, walking along the edge of an enormous cliff, down to the Col Rigais, and then back up to Seceda station. All in, it should take us 3 to 4 hours. We started at the Ortisei station and purchased a 3-day pass for all of the cable cars in the Gardena Valley. The first of 2 gondolas was small and took about 20 minutes to get to Funes, where we had to stop and change. As we waited for our gondola to descend out of the clouds, we wondered whether the summit above was visible, or squarely in the middle of the thick clouds blanketing the top of the valley. The clouds were still thick when we reached the summit station, but we climbed a short way up from the cable car to the better viewpoint of this striking mountain range, where we were greeted with an absolutely incomparable vista. What lay before us was constantly changing, different peaks popping in and out behind the fast-moving clouds. The fog that lingered behind Seceda made it look like the end of the world, a white abyss beyond which there was nothing and everything. It was absolutely mesmerizing. We took our time to take in the view. Seceda itself, it stands 2,519 meters tall, but the really impressive peaks standing before us, Sass, Rigais and Forcella, are over 2,800 meters tall. The tiny stick figures of hikers give you some sense of the scale of these giant mountains that the rolling clouds rob from you. From our view at the top of the valley, we could see the countless mountain huts, all of the chalets and refugios that serve hikers in the summer and skiers in the winter. Further down the valley, just appearing from the clouds, was Sassalungo, a giant standing tall above everything around it. It looks about as round as it is tall, and it really imposes on the landscape. After quite some time marveling at the scene before us, we decided to actually start hiking, and followed the trail towards the peaks. As we drew closer, we saw brave souls standing out on precipices for photo opportunities. It was too windy for us to take that risk, so we continued along the trail and began the initial descent. It wasn't long before the pathway got much quieter, and we arrived at an impressive boulder field. We stopped for some snacks amongst SUV-sized stones strewn from the side of Sass Rigais, all surrounding one enormous monolith called Piera Longia, protruding from the earth. The trails were all well maintained, although you still need boots with ankle support for this hike. There were some signposts, but I would still recommend taking a map with you. Soon after, we were walking through a light pine forest that circled the edge of the skiing area. Before long, we found ourselves at the lowest point of the hike, which meant that it was all uphill from here. As we rose up above the trees, we were once again very aware of the giant, jagged cliffs looming over us. Having seen them up close, I regret not climbing them, but alas, we lacked the time to do so on this day. But one thing's for sure, in the 8 days we spent there in the Dolomites, we were completely captivated. I cannot wait to return and try out some more intrepid trails. If you're enjoying this video so far, please consider pressing the like button or leaving a comment down below. And if you want to see more content like this, then subscribe for more hikes from the Dolomites and all around the world. The climb back up started out easy, but before long we were out of breath as the path grew ever steeper. Along the way we saw a few refugios serving food and drinks, but we didn't stop, for fear that we couldn't get going again. And as we reached Seceda station, our starting point, the clouds parted, and we could see all the grandeur of the Geisler Mountains and the Gardena Valley. The rugged beauty of mountains never ceases to amaze me. This was our first hike in the Dolomites, and what a way to get acquainted with this special place. The weather and the mountains worked together to put on one epic show for us. We soaked in the view for one last time, and then boarded the gondola headed back down. At this point in the day, the clouds had lifted on the other side of the ridge, so the journey back down was much more scenic. In total, we hiked 9.5 kilometers. We gained a total of 534 meters of elevation, and we were moving for about 3 hours. In all, it took us 3.5 hours, save for the time we spent in awe, having just arrived at the cable car station, marveling at the mountains. This isn't a difficult hike, so I'm rating it medium, and I'll leave the AllTrails link in the description so you can follow our route. However, there are countless other trails that let you enjoy these same sights to all degrees of difficulty, tenacity and skill. However you decide to see Seceda, I cannot recommend it enough. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and let me know in the comments what you thought. If you have suggestions for other hikes in the area, please share with everyone. And if you think you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing.